Someone you trusted with access to your life is currently trapped in a reality they cannot escape. The walls are closing in, and they have exactly two options: confess what they orchestrated against you, or wait for law enforcement to present the evidence first. Because what they planned in secret, what they spent months constructing in the shadows while maintaining their mask, it is all coming apart right now. And before this ends, you will have access to every detail they thought would stay buried. Every private conversation where your name was mentioned with intent, every calculated step, every instance they performed concern while advancing a plan for your permanent removal. Not removal from their circle, not from a position. Removal from existence itself. They wanted you erased from this world. And if reading this created a physical reaction, if your chest tightened or something went cold, stay present, because what I am about to reveal is not speculation. This is the documented reality of what has been unfolding while you were simply trying to survive, while you were healing from wounds that had not fully closed, while you were rebuilding structures that had been knocked down, while you were getting up every morning choosing to keep moving forward, even when every cell screamed for you to stop. You were operating in the visible realm, doing internal work, showing up for your recovery, even when no witnesses were present, fighting battles no one else could see. And the entire time, someone with proximity to your daily reality was operating in the invisible realm, taking detailed notes, studying your routines, mapping gaps in your awareness, identifying when your guard was lowest, constructing a systematic plan designed to remove you in a manner that would register as anything except what it truly was. An accident, a tragedy, a sudden loss that would shock people but deflect suspicion away from the truth. Now here is what I need you to understand before we go any deeper into this. You sensed it. You absolutely sensed that something was misaligned the entire time. There was a persistent discomfort that refused to settle no matter how much you tried to explain it away. A quiet alarm system running in the background of your awareness that would not fully silence. An internal signal that kept pushing to the surface despite your repeated attempts to rationalize it into nothing. You felt it in your body when certain people entered the room. You felt it in the subtle shift of energy when specific names came up in conversation. You felt it in the moments when something that should have felt safe somehow did not. You probably labeled that feeling anxiety. Maybe you called it paranoia. Perhaps you told yourself you were being too suspicious, too guarded, too sensitive to dynamics that everyone else seemed comfortable with. You might have questioned whether you were manufacturing problems where none existed. You may have wondered if past trauma was causing you to see threats in neutral situations. But that persistent, uncomfortable feeling was not distortion. It was precision. It was not your mind playing tricks on you. It was your spirit functioning exactly as designed, picking up on frequencies in your environment that did not match what was being shown to you on the surface level. You were detecting the presence of a genuine threat before your conscious awareness had enough concrete information to name it specifically. Your intuition was reading energy that contradicted performed behavior. It was recognizing incongruence between what people said and what they energetically carried. It was identifying the gap between the mask someone wore in your presence and the intention they held in your absence. And because you are still here, because you are watching this message right now, it means that internal alarm system did its job. It kept you alert enough. It kept you questioning enough. It kept you just slightly out of reach of what was being constructed to trap you. That feeling you doubted, that instinct you second-guessed, that internal voice you tried to silence because it made you feel like you were being unfair or judgmental, that voice kept you alive. And if you are sitting with this right now and something just clicked into place, if a pattern you have been trying to understand for months or even years just became suddenly clear, I need you to leave a comment below. It does not have to be your full story. It can be a single word, a single emoji. Just something that lets other people who are watching this know they are not isolated in what they have been carrying. Because part of the attack strategy against chosen ones is making you feel like you are the only one experiencing this level of coordinated opposition. You are not. There are others, and they need to find this message the same way you did. The individuals behind this conspiracy did not come from outside your established circle. They were already embedded within your trust network, already validated by shared history, already granted entry where your defenses naturally lowered. And at the center of this operation, there are two distinct personalities working in coordination. The first one functions as the architect. This individual operates from a fundamentally transactional worldview established long before you encountered them. Human beings exist in only two categories: assets to be utilized or obstacles to be eliminated. Every relationship is evaluated through cost-benefit analysis. Every connection is assessed for utility value. Emotional bonds, loyalty, history, none of these register as meaningful variables in their decision-making. This person examined your life with the emotional detachment of someone reviewing a financial statement. They calculated what your continued existence cost them versus what your permanent absence would provide access to. Based on that cold evaluation, a decision was reached. Your death was worth more than your life, in financial terms. In terms of what doors would open, what obstacles would dissolve, what opportunities would become available once you were gone. Documents were quietly altered. Legal designations were adjusted. Financial structures were rearranged. An entire invisible infrastructure was constructed around one assumption: you would be gone before you discovered any of it. They were so confident they built the aftermath before executing the action. The second individual is the infiltrator, where the architect uses blunt calculation. This person uses surgical precision in human behavior. They have mastered emotional performance, tears on command, concern that feels authentic because the expressions have been practiced to reflex. They can sit across from you, look in your eyes, ask how you are doing, while simultaneously cataloging every detail for future use against you. This person had access to your unguarded moments. They were there during vulnerable conversations. They witnessed you in states of pain and uncertainty. Every piece of information you shared, every fear you voiced, every insecurity you expressed. It was documented and transmitted back to the architect. You thought you were talking to someone safe. You were feeding intelligence into a system designed to identify the most efficient pathway to your destruction. These two found each other because individuals with this pathology always recognize their counterpart. They formed an alliance on mutual benefit, a shared goal, your removal. And in constructing that alliance, they made the critical miscalculation currently destroying them both. Partnerships between fundamentally self-serving people have an expiration date. The moment real consequences arrive, and they have arrived, self-preservation overrides alliance. Right now, both are running the same calculation: who benefits from confession, who loses less from cooperation. That fracture is not a minor crack. It is a structural collapse. This was not anger talking recklessly. This was not someone venting in a heated moment. This was a structured, multi-stage plan with a clear final objective. Stage 1 was isolation. You had to be separated from anyone who might notice something was wrong or ask the right questions. The goal, was to make your loneliness look like your personality rather than a condition being engineered around you. Stage 2 was destabilization. The aim was to weaken your clarity, lower your frequency, and position you emotionally and spiritually for what they planned to do next. Stage 3 was the final move, the one that required you to be in a specific place at a specific time with your defenses at their lowest point. Except here is what they failed to account for in all of their meticulous planning. You were never positioned where they calculated you would be. Not spiritually, not energetically, not emotionally. While they were constructing their multi-stage operation based on data they had collected about who you used to be, something else was simultaneously reconstructing you from the inside out. You were being upgraded in real time, rewired in ways that had nothing to do with your conscious effort and everything to do with what was protecting you from a threat you had not yet identified. Every single time you felt an unexplainable pull to make a change in your life, you were not being impulsive, you were not being flaky or unstable or unable to commit. You were responding to legitimate spiritual intelligence that was guiding you away from danger and toward protection. Every time you removed someone from your inner circle and could not fully articulate why, except that something felt off, you were not being paranoid. You were not being judgmental or harsh or unforgiving. You were severing a connection to the exact network that was feeding information about you into the system being built for your destruction. Every time you turned down an opportunity that looked perfect on paper but felt wrong in your gut, you were not self-sabotaging. You were not afraid of success. You were not blocking your own blessings. You were dodging a setup you did not have the conscious awareness to recognize yet. You were being redirected away from positions and environments where the plan against you had clearer access, better visibility, and more control over variables. Every time you walked away from a relationship that everyone around you thought you should fight for, you were not giving up too easily. You were extracting yourself from an entanglement that was designed to keep you stationary and predictable. Every time you made a decision that confused the people watching your life from the outside, every time you chose a path that did not make logical sense based on external circumstances, every time you followed an internal knowing that you could not defend with facts or data, you were operating from intelligence that your enemies had no capacity to track, no method to intercept, and no framework to understand. You were making tactical decisions in a conflict you were not yet consciously aware you were engaged in, and you were winning. You were winning while you thought you were just surviving. You were gaining ground while you thought you were barely holding position. You were dismantling their plan without knowing their plan existed. Let me show you exactly how precise this protection actually was, because this is where it gets specific. That relationship that ended abruptly and left you completely confused. The one where you kept asking yourself what you did wrong. The one where you replayed conversations, trying to identify where things fell apart. The one that felt like it was ripped away from you without warning or explanation. That person was connected to what was being orchestrated against you, not as a primary player necessarily, but as a node in the network, a source of information, a point of access, someone who was reporting details about your movements, your emotional state, your plans, your vulnerabilities back into a system that was using that intelligence to position you for an attack. The ending of that relationship was not a loss. It was a surgical severance. What registered in your nervous system as heartbreak, what felt like rejection, what looked like abandonment, was actually a wire being cut, a data stream being interrupted, a vulnerability being closed. The pain you felt was real. The grief was legitimate. But underneath that pain, protection was operating. You were being extracted from a situation where someone with access to your inner world was actively compromising your safety. That opportunity that disappeared without any logical explanation. The job offer that was verbally confirmed, then mysteriously withdrawn. The business partnership that fell through at the last moment. The living situation that seemed perfect until suddenly it was not available anymore. The collaboration that everyone said was a sure thing until it dissolved into nothing. You spent time feeling disappointed. Maybe you felt like a failure. Perhaps you wondered why good things never seemed to work out for you. But if that door had actually opened, if you had walked through it, you would have been in a significantly more exposed position when the attack was scheduled to execute. You would have been in an environment with less control over your own schedule, in a location with fewer exits, in a situation with more witnesses to your patterns and fewer options for unpredictability. The closing of that particular door was not bad luck. It was strategic redirection. It was you being maneuvered away from danger you could not see and toward a position where your protection could function with fewer obstacles and clearer lines of defense. What looked like a setback was actually a save. The season of isolation that felt like abandonment, the period where it seemed like everyone you thought would stay chose to leave. The months where your phone stopped ringing, where invitations dried up, where you found yourself alone more than you had ever been in your entire life. They attempted to weaponize that isolation. The plan required you to be separated from anyone who might notice irregularities, anyone who might ask questions, anyone who might pay close enough attention to recognize that what was unfolding around you was not organic but orchestrated. The goal was to engineer a circumstance where your aloneness looked like a natural result of your personality rather than a condition being deliberately manufactured around you. They wanted you to internalize it as rejection, as proof that you were too much or not enough, as evidence that something was fundamentally wrong with you that made people not want to stay. But what they completely miscalculated, what they had no framework to predict, is that chosen ones do not diminish in isolation, they clarify in it. The gifts that require absolute silence to surface do their deepest and most transformative work when external noise is completely removed. The discernment that needs distance from competing voices sharpens fastest when you are alone long enough to hear truth underneath everything else. The unshakable internal authority you now carry only develops when you are stripped of the option to outsource your knowing to anyone else. The isolation they sent as a weapon activated capabilities in you that comfort and community never could have touched. You did not weaken in that season, you evolved. They tried to use your aloneness to destroy you. It rebuilt you into someone they could no longer reach. The financial pressure that seemed relentless, the months where you did not know how you were going to cover basic needs, the times you had to make impossible choices between things that should not have been in competition. The seasons where no matter how hard you worked, how much effort you applied, how strategic you tried to be, the money just would not stabilize. You may have felt like you were being punished, like you were doing something wrong, like the universe was withholding from you what it freely gave to others. But that pressure was not punishment, it was refinement. It was stripping away every single compromise you were carrying in your relationship with resources, every belief about what you had to tolerate to survive, every agreement you had made about what you had to accept or endure in exchange for financial security. That entire structure was being demolished, not to hurt you, to prepare you. Because what you are being called to carry requires a foundation that cannot be shaken by the gain or loss of money. It requires an internal stability that does not fluctuate based on what is or is not in your bank account. The financial strain removed every fragile piece that would have collapsed under the weight of what is coming, the spiritual dryness. The months or maybe years where it felt like you were praying into a void, where practices that used to bring you peace suddenly felt empty. where the connection you once felt so clearly seemed distant and unreachable, where you questioned whether you had done something to cause the separation or whether you had been wrong about everything you thought you understood. That was not abandonment. That was the systematic removal of every second-hand belief system, every borrowed conviction, every spiritual framework you had adopted from someone else that was never actually yours. Everything that was not authentically your own knowing had to be stripped away, because what you are moving into requires you to operate from your direct connection, not from teachings you inherited or doctrines you were handed. The dryness was not divine rejection. It was divine preparation. It was the clearing out of everything false so that only what is real could remain and grow. And if you are feeling this right now, if these words are touching something in you that has needed validation for longer than you want to admit, take a second and share this video. Because someone you know, someone in your contacts right now, is in the middle of one of these seasons, and they need to understand what is actually happening. Now look at where you are. You have the full picture, not the fragmented version that left you second-guessing your instincts. The complete picture, the architect and the infiltrator, the financial motive calculated around your death, the staged approach designed to make it look like something other than what it was. The plan that failed because what was protecting you was already active long before you knew protection was necessary. The investigation that is happening right now. The confession that is coming from one direction or the other. The law that is already returning consequences to the people who set them in motion first. You have all of it. And here is what it confirms. You are covered. Not hoping to be, not trying to convince yourself that you might be. You are covered in a way that has now been tested under the most extreme conditions and proven beyond any argument. You survived a coordinated, financially backed, multi-person conspiracy to remove you from this earth permanently, and you are still here, still standing, still moving forward. What else in this entire existence could ever present itself to you as an obstacle worth fearing? Nothing you will ever face again measures up to what you already cleared. Now, I want to address something directly because some of you are feeling it right now. You are allowed to be angry. You are allowed to sit fully in the reality of what betrayal at this level actually costs. You are allowed to process the weight of discovering that people you trusted used that trust as a targeting system. Feel all of it. Do not rush past it. Do not perform healing. You have not actually completed. Sit with the grief. Sit with the rage. Sit with the violation of it. And when you have genuinely moved through it, not before but absolutely after, set it down and rise without apology, because you just survived something most people cannot even conceptualize. The awareness of being targeted at that level does not shrink you. It clarifies you. And here is the part that shifts everything. Why you? Why this level of coordinated opposition? Why this much planning? This much resource? This much sustained commitment to your destruction? Because the people who came against you saw something developing in you that you had not fully seen in yourself yet. They recognized what you were becoming before you had complete visibility on it. And what they saw was threatening enough to justify everything they mobilized against you. Ordinary people do not attract coordinated schemes with financial backing and multiple participants. The scale of the opposition you faced is a direct mirror of the scale of what you carry. What you are here to do is significant enough that darkness could not afford to let it continue unchallenged. Your presence disrupts systems. Your growth exposes structures that rely on people staying small and convinced they are less than they are. When you step into full alignment, the atmosphere around you changes in a way that opposition cannot ignore. That is why the attack was not random. That is why it escalated to the level it did. The goal was never simply to hurt you. The goal was to prevent what happens when you fully activate. The people behind this understood, even when you did not yet, exactly what your full activation would cost them. Now you understand it too. Before we go further, I want to say something. Creating content like this, doing the research, connecting the patterns, and delivering these messages to chosen ones who need them takes significant time and energy. If this message has served you, if it gave you confirmation or clarity you have been searching for, there is a donation link in the comments below. Not as obligation, as option, for those who feel called to support this work so it can keep reaching the people who need it most. No pressure, just possibility. Now, let us go back through your history with new eyes. Every loss you thought broke you, every door that closed in your face, every person who walked away, every season that felt endless. Look at all of it through what you now understand. The relationship that ended was severing your connection to the intelligence network, feeding information about you into a system designed to harm you. The opportunity that evaporated was steering you away from an environment where the attack had better access and clearer lines of sight. The isolation was not punishment, it was preparation. It was clearing space for the gifts that only surface in silence to do their necessary work. The financial pressure was not a curse. It was a refining process that removed every compromise you were carrying that would have collapsed under the weight of what you are being called to now. The spiritual dryness was not abandonment. It was the stripping away of every false comfort and second-hand belief system you were holding that was not actually yours. Every single thing that registered as loss was removing a liability from your life before it could become a weapon in someone else's hand. And now that you can see that, now that the pattern is clear, walk in it, not selectively, not just when it feels easy. Walk in it, especially when you are in environments where opposition is still present and the instinct to make yourself smaller feels safer. Playing small never made anyone safer. It just made the target easier to hit. You were not preserved through all of this so you could shrink back into a version of yourself that fits more comfortably into spaces that were never built for you in the first place. The guidance that carried you here does not stop at this moment. It continues forward into the assignment that was worth protecting at such a high cost. It continues into the calling that your enemies understood with more clarity than you did when they decided to come against it. It continues into the fully activated version of who you are, which is no longer a maybe or a potential. It is present. It is operational. It is ready. And this is what people who come against chosen ones never account for. The opposition does not stop you. It accelerates you. Every attack you survived sharpened something in you that ease never could have touched. Every season of pressure forged a resilience that favorable conditions could never manufacture. Every person who tried to remove you from your path accidentally confirmed that the path is real, that what you are moving toward matters, and that your arrival there is inevitable. The evidence is building. The confession is approaching. The consequences are already in motion, and you were never going anywhere. You are still here because you were always supposed to be here. The plan against you failed because it was never going to succeed. Not because you got lucky, because you are covered by something they had no capacity to measure, no method to counteract, and no framework to understand. They studied the version of you they could see. They had no access to the version that was being built in the unseen. So here is what you do now. You walk forward into everything they tried to take from you. You step into every space they tried to block you from. You claim every piece of territory they attempted to remove you from, not with arrogance, with certainty. Because you have already survived the worst version of the test they could design. Everything from this point forward is ground you were always meant to stand on. You do not need permission. You do not need approval. You do not need anyone to validate that you belong in the rooms you are about to enter. You already proved it by still being alive. And if there is still a part of you asking whether you are reading too much into this, whether the opposition was really that coordinated, whether it is possible that people you loved actually wanted you dead, let me say this: your instinct brought you to this message. That same instinct kept you alive when a plan was in motion to ensure you were not. Trust it now the same way it trusted itself then. You do not need more proof than the fact that you are still standing when everything was designed to make sure you were not. The war is over. You already won. Not because the battle stopped, because you outlasted every single move they made against you. And now you get to walk into the fullness of why you were worth attacking in the first place. Go take everything that belongs to you. It was always yours. They just confirmed it by trying to steal it. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below and let me know. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you feel led to support this work, the donation link is in the comments. No obligation. Just opportunity for those who want to keep this message reaching other chosen ones who are searching for confirmation. Now go dominate everything they thought they took from you.